מה טובו עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו עליך יעקב, משכנותיך
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our visitors from around the country and around the world. So I can wish you on behalf of Bet David, ourselves, Bet Menorah Pretoria and Bet David Durban, a grand welcome to our service this evening. Your congregation needs your support, especially in these difficult times. To sponsor a virtual service to celebrate the Simcha or in memory of loved ones is one way to do this. If you wish to sponsor in the name of your business, the name of your business will scroll at the bottom of the opening screen and remains visible on the YouTube recordings of the service, affording ongoing online advertising. The Shabbat candles tonight will be lit by Larry and Bianca Shakanovsky to celebrate Larry's birthday. Please feel free to send comments and greetings in the live chat. Shabbat Shalom.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which we live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is my pleasure to welcome Rabbi Elisheva and to invite her to join us for the Kabbalat Shabbat service. Rabbi, do join us all the way from San Francisco.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, David, and thank you so much for the beautiful lighting of the candles. It's lovely to see the light that we gather from all over. You know, this is a very sad and difficult parsha. In it, we hear of the death of Miriam. We're reading Chukat, by the way. So we hear the death of Miriam, the sort of final opportunity for Moses and Aaron to maintain their leadership, which they lose the power to do, and then the death of Aaron. And I want to focus on the death of Aaron for just a moment, because the thing that's so important that we learn from this is how ritual touches our lives. We as Jews understand ritual very well. Here we are in the midst of the ritual bringing of the light into the darkness, hopefully in many ways, including health and healing for those in our congregation and beyond who are experiencing problems with the pandemic. Ritual is designed to help us understand and connect with the pieces of our lives that are so difficult, including death, including fear, including darkness. It's designed to celebrate those moments when we just are so full of joy that we must share. like birth and marriage and bar and bat mitzvah, do come to Lexi's bat mitzvah next week to celebrate with her. And in our parsha, we have this moment of ritual where Aaron and Moses and Aaron's now eldest son, Eleazar, go up to the top of the mountain. Moses disrobes Aaron, places his clothing upon Eleazar. Aaron dies. Moses and Eleazar come back down. The people know because he's wearing his father's clothing that Aaron has passed, and they begin to mourn for 30 days, which is our custom as well. And so we have these visual cues, this reminder of the fact that things are changing. So we go from the lack of light, our plain candles, to our lit candles. At the end of Shabbat, we relight the candle that has gone out to welcome in the week. Eleazar wears his father's clothes. He helps us to mark the change. Our candles, our challah, our wine, even though they are ephemeral, give us the opportunity to mark this change from a time where we are preoccupied with our work to a time when we can gather together and be as family and as a community and enjoy the beauties of Shabbat. Reb David, will you take us into the Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of this holy time?
Thank you, Rabbi, for those words. The Israeli-Palestinian divide has come down to the high school level, where Jewish youngsters are faced with offensive material being posted online. Children are wearing Free Palestine badges at school. Jewish personages have intervened and have tried to build bridges, even arranging a meeting with a rabbi, a priest, and 2 imams. They interacted in a respectful way, which had a great positive effect on the students. In one school, the Zionist Fed helped with material for a meeting between Jewish and Muslim students. Our youth had been shocked at the attitude of their Muslim friends, and it was necessary to explain the conflict to them and advise them not to engage with hate online. A father pointed out that his sons will have to face more of this in the future. He's right, of course. What do? We adults can probably get by with reasonable answers. I suggest that we explain the historical conflict to our young people so that they are equipped to reply to criticism. We have to be sure that we explain the humanity demanded of us by Judaism, underpinned by the valid Israeli entitlement to protect its own citizens. Unfortunately, our growing up youngsters have to educate and arm themselves for this ongoing aggressive attitude by some persons around us. We continue now with our formal Shabbat service, page 130. L'chuna ranana Adonai, naria lesu yishaynu, nekadama panav betoda, bizmirot naria lo. Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher biyado mechkarei aretz, v'hu ha'afot harim lo. Asher lo hayam v'hu asa, yabeshet yadav yatsaru. Bo'u nishtachave v'nichra'a, nivracha lifnei Adonai oseinu. Ki hu Adonai Eloheinu, v'anachnu amarito, v'tzon yado, we are your flock. Hayom im bekolo tishma'u. On the next page, 2 sentences. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz, which means sing to God a new song, and sing to God all the earth. Turn to page 132 in English. Sing to God a new song, sing to God all the earth, sing to God, bless God's name, proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For the Eternal One is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but the Eternal One made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of the Eternal One. For God is coming. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and his people in faithfulness. Page 136. Page 136. Sorry, page 136. This is interesting. I'm going to read the English, and there's something that I want to draw to your attention. This is a slightly more somber note in this, expressed in this psalm. Slightly more serious note. And the word ascribe is used a few times. What is that telling us? What is that telling us? That continued usage of the word ascribe. What it's telling us is that it's up to us to acknowledge what God has done for us. When we cross the road safely with the big trucks behind us, we should be saying thank you, that nobody bashed into us. Ascribe means give credit, acknowledge, and that's what I feel we do not do often enough in the course of our ordinary living. So turn that over in your mind as we read this psalm together. Mizmor LeDavid, a psalm of David. Ascribe to the Eternal One, O divine beings, ascribe to God glory and strength. Ascribe to the Eternal One the glory of God's name. Bow down to God, majestic in holiness. The voice of God is over the waters, the God of glory thunders. The Eternal One, over the mighty waters. The voice of God is power. The voice of God is majesty. The voice of God breaks cedars. The Eternal One shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. And from there we go to our Shabbat hymn.
Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. שמו תפארת ולתהילה, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה. מעשה במחשבת תחילה, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עם מלוכה, ומצאים מתוך אבטחה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה. והוא יחמול עלייך, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה. לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לה לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לה. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נעבר, עלי היגיון בחינום. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
איש בעל לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת. צדיק כתמה יפרח. The upright shall flourish like a palm. כארץ בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו. להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו. We turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish, after which Rabbi will rejoin us straight into the Baruch Hu. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, באומה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהלל הדר, ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דעה מהירן בעולמה, ואמרו אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please join me on the top of page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamahari Baravi.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shofteinu, ufkumenu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'yorech yameinu, u'vahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatecha, al tasim imenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
We turn now to page 152, and we gather together our tzitzit, the fringes on the corners of our talit, if we are wearing one, which we do when we lead, usually just for Shabbat morning, bringing together symbolically and ritually all of the peoples of the earth into one, to remind us that all of creation is one, that all of creation is holy. And we recite the words that we're getting to soon in Deuteronomy, that the divine is also one, and the divine is connected to us in our hands through these threads. And we say the Shema together on page 152.
Adonai Echad.
Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. And these words that I command you this day, you shall place on your heart. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. And you shall tie them upon your hands, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו. So you shall remember and observe all of the recommendations that I make to you to make your lives holy, and with them you shall become holy, and you shall reflect my divine might. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. So we take this moment as we prepare ourselves for the blessing of the children of Israel when they were standing on the shores of the sea, to remember that moment when there was some real clarity that Egypt was over and that there was something new happening, and we didn't know what it was, but we had this glow of the divine fire, the beginning of creation leading us. And this is what brings us into the real amazing piece of our service, which we recite over and over again, the Mi Chamocha, that we never forget, and no matter how difficult things are, and it's a pretty tough world right now, that there is that possibility that we can follow the light, that we can move ourselves towards hope, towards repair, and towards joy. And this is what the song Mi Chamocha really brings to us. And it is found on page 158. Our choir will lead us beautifully in reminding us of this possibility and this power.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Next page, 155. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, בעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, ויגן בעדנו, ואסר מעלינו אויב, דבר וחרב ורעב ויגון. And in particular, may you cause to pass over us and all those we love, and all throughout the world, the scourge of COVID, so that those who are ill may be returned to health and well-being, and those who have been exposed have strong enough immunity of their own that they will not get affected. May also, as we ask for your protection, there be a tremendous increase in the ability of those who wish to be vaccinated, so that all soon may be able to walk freely amongst the streets and amongst each other, and rejoice in being able to greet and to touch hands. Please guard us from all trouble and travail, and bless us and bring us to life and to peace from now until eternity. Baruch atah Adonai, haporez sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'ha Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. אדוני שפת תפתח ופי ידי תהילתך, אדוני שפת תפתח ופי ידי תהילתך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu. Take a moment and think of the ancestors who you are connected to. Maybe you're named for someone whose memories live on in your family and now in the works of your hands. Connect also with our biblical ancestors, with Sarah, with Rebecca, with Rachel, with Leah, with Bilhah and Zilpah, the matriarchs, with Abraham, with Isaac, with Jacob, our patriarchs. We remember the goodness of all of these people, and we bring them into our hearts to remind ourselves and you, O Holy One, that we are all connected and that our virtues rest on theirs, and they rejoice in what we do. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai mechayeh hakol, Atah Rav lehoshia. We think now of the power that is inherent in the divine, the power of beauty, the power of the nature that is surrounding us, the wind that blows, the rain that falls, the sun that shines, the glorious way that the plants are able to breathe out oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, and we make the circle. We think of the power that is in the blessings of healing of the heart, healing of the body, and healing of the community. And we bring those to this holy moment, and we bless that presence of power and our ability to connect to it. V'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh u'shimcha kadosh u'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. We take a moment as we prepare now for the silent part of our Amidah. We're going to practice again, trying to do this as our ancestors did, where we continue the matbeah, what's in the prayer book, on our own, and then we'll join again at Shalom Rav. But I want you to take a moment as you prepare for that, if you're using the words in the book, to think about holiness and about your own holy space, that which is around you, that which is inside you, that which is supported by those who you love and who love you. And we continue with the blessings for Shabbat and the blessings for the world and the blessings for peace. We'll join in a few moments with Shalom Rav. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shchinato letziyam modim anachnu lah. Baruch atah Adonai atov shimcha ulachana elehodot. You know, this time is so interesting because as we think about peace, of course, our hearts turn to Israel. And Israel is in the process of managing this really amazing new government, you know, with power on all sides of questions of personal matters, of the settlements, of religion, of how to interact and how to create. And the government is working hard to make something that is beautiful and that works for the people. Now remember, the people are not the government, right? Our value is to be absolutely sure there's a Jewish state. The government needs to serve the people. And it is in an exciting and sometimes, I think, for us, scary place to see that it's not clear. But what we must do is trust that the system is in the hands of the divine as best as possible. And we can disagree about what a government does, but it is our job as non-Israelis who didn't elect this government to support, to say, you know, there are many sides to this. And there are so many sides, they're seen in all of the choices of leadership. And that we can pray in this time of peace that the alliance between what seems unusual bedfellows can bring forth something that really does work, and that the government can serve the people, all of the people who live in the Holy Land, righteously and appropriately. And that, God willing, in our lifetimes, we will be able to say, Shalom Rav al Yisrael. May there be peace on Israel, all of Israel, in all possible ways. And so let us make a prayer that in this moment, in this time, the right and best things are happening to work towards peace. Whatever we may feel, whether we disagree or we agree, that there is peace for Israel, for all who live in the Holy Land, for all of us who live out of the Holy Land, that peace spreads from us to the world. Please join me in a moment of silence and fervent prayer. Page 182 in the middle. Magen avot ve'imahot bidvaro v'chaye hakol v'mahamahu ha'el hakadosh she'ein kemohu המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו, כי פעם רצה להניח להם, כי פעם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבור ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעין הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעם מדושני עונג. זכר, remember the beginning of creation.
This week's Parasha, Chukat, and the Haftarah recount two wrongdoings. Miriam has passed away, and with her the source of water from her legendary well. So the murmuring against Moses starts again. Why did you take us out of Egypt? Why did you bring us to the desert to die? We have no figs or vines or pomegranates, and so forth. The complaints went on. God, as usual, provides the remedy. Moses is to take the rod, and in front of the whole congregation is to speak to the rock, and it will bring forth water. Moses calls the Israelites rebels, and he asks them a question. Are we to bring forth water out of this rock? He thereby casts a doubt on God's powers. Then, lifting up his hand, he strikes the rock twice with the rod, and water does gush forth, but it was a breach of his instructions. God tells Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe in me to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, you will not bring them into the land which I have given them. Moses made the blunder of giving into his anger and forgot his duty. Maimonides wrote that this impatience with the people was considered reprehensible in divinely appointed leaders. So Moses and Aaron were made to pay a price. Another view of this incident is that new leadership was necessary to take the Israelites into their new chapter. It was time for Moses the visionary to allow someone else to implement his future plans. We all need to know that we have to pass the baton at some time. The second wrongdoing comes from the book of Judges in the Haftarah, where the Israelites are in strife with the Ammonites. A leader was found in the person of Jephthah, a lowly born man, but capable and able eventually to defeat the Ammonites after trying first to negotiate with them. Jephthah vowed that if he conquered the Ammonites, whatsoever comes forth from his house to meet him when he returned in peace should be sacrificed as a burnt offering. Lo and behold, when he returned home triumphant, his beloved daughter ran out to meet him. You can imagine his horror. Commentators have given alternative explanations. For example, that he built a house for her and kept her away from society. But the rabbis blame him for not having his entirely invalid vow annulled. It was in the power of Pinchas, the high priest, to do so. there was political rivalry between them, and neither would go to the other. Both were punished in due course. Dante, in Paradise Lost, writes about Jephthah, I quote, "Better a man should say, 'I have done wrong,' than keeping an ill vow, he should do worse." So, my friends, let us strive to keep our emotions in check, lest we do something rash which has dire consequences. High-up officials have a greater duty to perform. I think in particular of the task of preserving good family relations. I'm sure you all can remember letting fly at some time. Time to rethink that kind of attitude. I wish you Shabbat Shalom. Page 486, Aleinu. Kiddush, thank you.
Vahi Erev, Vahi Boker, Yom Hashishi, Vachu Hashmayim Va'aretz, Vekol Tzava'am, Vachal Elohim Bayom Hashvi'i, Malachto Asher Asa, Va'ashibot Bayom Hashvi'i, Mikol Malachto Asher Asa, Va'erech Elohim et Yom Hashvi'i, Va'kedesh Oto Kivo Shavat Mikol Malachta Asher Bara Elohim La'asot. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kijanu b'mitzvotav, baratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho. Ba'ahava uvraton, hin chilanu, zikaron lama'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher lesiat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu varchata vo otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amin. V'shabbat kodshecha, ba'ava uvraton hin chaltanu, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Well done, Vina, well done, well done. We turn now to page 586 for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה. השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמה, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. ואלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום ושבותה, לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ, מתחתיה עוד.
Page 588 in the middle. For you spread out the heavens and established the earth. Your majestic abode is in the heavens above, and your mighty presence is in the loftiest heights. You are our God, and there is none else. In truth, you are our sovereign without compare. As is written in your Torah, know then this day and take it to heart that the Eternal One is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else. Ein Od. We turn to page 595 for Yesh Kochavim.
יש כוכבים שרק מגיע הצער, רק אשר הם עצמם עטו ריקם. יש אנשים שזכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד
Page 597. At this moment we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. Those who passed away at this season in years gone by, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. In particular we think of Basil Benjamin, father of Sandy Meltz, Augusta Lillian Rubin, mother of Gail Regalie and grandmother of Karen Margolius, Lauren Kupritz and Gavin Regalie. Susan Sinek, mother of Mike Sinek. Janie Garb, mother of Mark Garb. Stella Balabanoff, mother of Tony Balabanoff. Claire Hoff, mother of Cyril Hoff. Joshua Furman, father of Sandra Beswick. Rael Burns, Bella Rosen, mother of Martin Rosen. Professor Philip Tobias, remembered by Gail Saul. From Bet Menorah, Pretoria, we think of Greta McCaskill, mother of Don McCaskill. Cecily Hurwitz, mother of Wilfred and Jonna Hurwitz. Frances Welshman, aunt of Wilfred Lautenberg. Stanley Perry Druin, brother of Heloise Kelly. From Bet David in Durban, Johnny Springer, husband of Joy Springer. Gerald Lipschitz, father of Stanley Lipschitz. David Levine, brother of Harold Levine and Joy Springer. Violette Etkin, mother of Rabbi Hillel Avidan. Hermione Cohen, mother of Lorna Harris. Edith Funnell, mother of Ivor Funnell. Leonard Gearing, father of Paul Gearing. And the following persons who passed away recently: Mildred Goodman, remembered by Stephen and Helen Kaplan. Dr. Aubrey Luntz, remembered by Merle Ossery and family, and close friend of Rona and Giddy Leaf. Joyce Jordan, stepmother of Greg Jordan, and lovingly remembered by Ruth, Janice, and Kelly. We turn to page 598.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbours have lost, the martyrs of our people, whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We now turn to the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash may rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei, v'yamlich machutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yahei shma rabbah min Mavarach leolam ul almei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'a v'yidromam v'yidnaseh v'yidhadal v'yidhalal v'yidhaleh shmeik de kudasha brechu le'ela min kol bichata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yahei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromov hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Right. Thank you to Adam Stale for so ably facilitating the streaming of the service, and to the congregants who contributed videos to the service. Please join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. for our Shacharit service, led by Bev Bancroft, streamed live via YouTube using the usual link. Also, a reminder that at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Rabbi will be delivering a shiur, a discussion on Torah study, and we invite you to join her on that occasion tomorrow morning. There it's not YouTube, it is a Zoom link which the office circulated yesterday. Next Shabbat, Alexia Smedmore will be called to the Torah as Bar-Mitzvah. We wish the family Mazel Tov on this happy occasion. Regrettably, only immediate family will be permitted in the synagogue. You know what's happened this week. There's been terrible impact here in Gauteng. But the service will be streamed live via YouTube for all to watch and support Alexia. Save the date. Here's something very interesting. Sunday, 25 July at 1500. A streamed virtual music show. Jewish connections with rock music that you didn't know about, presented by Anthony Shiel. More details on our upcoming music show will be publicized once all the details have been finalized and, of course, closer to the event. Please listen to this very carefully. In view of the alarming rise in COVID cases, medical advisors have strongly recommended a drastic curtailing of all Jewish communal activities in Johannesburg and Pretoria for a period of 2 weeks, commencing immediately, today, up to and including 28th of June. Life cycle events should involve only the immediate family. No other functions should take place during this period of time. We urge all our congregants to stay home and exercise all necessary COVID preventative measures at all times. We conclude with the singing of Adon Olam on page 625.
Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem kol yitzini v'Adon Olam, Leit Nasa, B'chetz Ukol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem kol yitzini v'Adon, Leit Nasa, B'chetz Ukol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra. Kikot hakol, levahadoyim lach nara Adon Olam, v'hu haya, v'hu hove, v'hu yeh b'tifar Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, b'terem chol yitzin nivra, et nasa b'chefz hakol, hazai melech shemo nikra, v'hu echad ben Yaham Shilo Lahakbira Adon Olam, Beli Rishit, Beli Taklit, Belo Azma Mizrah Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem chol yitzin nivra, et nasa b'chefz hakol, hazai melech shemo nikra, v'hu eli, b'chai Yatzur Chavli Beit Sarah Adon Olam, Bonisi, Umanos Li, Banat Kosi B'yom Mikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem chol yitzin nivra, et nasa b'chefz hakol, hazai melech shemo nikra. Avki ruchi, beiti shan ve'ayira Adon Olam, ve'im ruchi, kebiati. Adon Ali b'lo'ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, b'terem chol yitzin nivra, et nasa b'chefz hakol, hazai melech shemo nikra.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. I'll now have pleasure in thanking Rabbi for leading us tonight in prayer, and I'll call upon her to make a closing farewell blessing. Rabbi.
Thank you also, Reb David, so much beauty and wisdom in your words. Someday, God willing, we will all be able to share that challah together, but I'm pleased that you're the one who has blessed it and eaten it for us tonight. I want to just say one thing before I bless you all, which is to remind you that on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday is the International Conference of Christians and Jews. I sent the link out in my Ad Karn article. Very worthwhile looking at a number of things. Note the time because it's on universal time. So the meetings are at various different hours, but lots of really wonderful stuff about thinking around religious topics with respect to the pandemic and the future and what interfaith communication can bring in strength to the world. And so with that, I want to bless us that we are able in this time of concern to reach out, even if it's by Zoom, to our neighbors, to our friends, be they Jewish, be they not, and to help to create an atmosphere of trust and hope as we move through the deeper and darker parts of the pandemic, that we pray for all people to be gathered in joy together, for all of us to be able to dance freely, to worship freely, and to share without fear, without danger, in the blessings of the world. And so we say together, I hope, Yivarechech Adonai v'yishmerech. May God bless you, sweet world, and keep you safe. Ya'er Adonai panav alayich v'chunaych. May God lift God's face to you and to all of us, and grant us favor. Yisa Adonai panav alayich v'yasem lach shalom. May the whole world be filled with the beauty of God. May the peace come from the internal to the external. And may we all be granted that blessing of shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shalom u'vorach, Shabbat shalom, Shalom u'vorach, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.